Welcome, everyone. You are in the right place to see an overview of the Leica BLK360 with your presenter, Jeff Bowers. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Great. I want to welcome everyone to today's presentation. We're going to keep this pretty laid back, and we're just going to take a quick glance at just all kinds of information about this BLK. So just real quick, start out with myself. I am Jeff Bowers. I have been in the AEC industry, architectural engineering community, for more than 20 years. My young looks, I know it doesn't tell the story, but it is what it is. I am Autodesk certified instructor with through Autodesk. I also am certified expert for implementation, Revit. My background is predominantly in the engineering world. I do a lot of process, a lot of HVAC, plumbing design in the past. Enough about me, different organizations. Let's just dive in, because everybody here wants to see what this is all about, get some more information on it, not information about me. With that said, looking at the BLK, I can honestly say I have had this thing in my hand for probably about 9 weeks now. And every time I pick it up, the first thing that comes to my mind is, man, this thing is really built well. There's no plastic pieces on it. It's all aluminum. I mean, it is a really nice feature. I mean, it's just clean and crisp, and it's super light. Again, adding to that, it's going to be, you know, once you guys get your hands on it, the ease, ability of using this thing is unbelievable. So getting into here, this is a lot of things that people want to see, all right? So first thing we're going to talk about is the size of it. 4.5 inches in diameter, approximately 6.5 inches tall. In all honesty, that's not much more than a venti coffee from Starbucks, okay, in height-wise. Now, we go in here and we start looking at the simplicity of it. Notice there's only a single button on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, there's a couple other pieces. So what we're going to do is dive into what those are. Now, the first one, 2 pounds, kind of talked about that. The first one we want to look at is on the right-hand side. You're going to notice that there are 3 camera lenses, okay? Those are 5-megapixel camera lens each. The next one is at the bottom below that last camera lens, you're going to notice that there is the FLIR sensor for thermal and our battery component and a single button operation. One thing that I do want to point out here is right below, let me go back to the camera lenses. Right below each one of those camera lenses, you're going to see a little white, what looks like a white dot. Those are LED lights, okay? So if you're in a pretty dark scenario and you are taking photographs, those will automatically kick on and help and assist us in the pictures. Now, just like any other camera, the better the light, the better the picture. The next thing is the LED status indicator. Basically, it's a stoplight. I've got red, which means something's wrong. I have a yellow light, yellow flashing light. That means that unit is in the process of doing something. And of course, we know green means go, ready to go. Now, a common question that I have been asked almost every single conversation I've ever had about the BLK, I've always been asked, Jeff, what does it do in the way of storage? You know, is it an SD card, micro SD card? What is it? Nope, there is no SD card on this unit. It is a 64 gig hard drive that or flash memory that is built into the unit. So with the amount that I have done, both for fun and for educational purposes, which is one and the same, I haven't come nearly to filling that up, and I've done several hundred scans at one time. So that 64 gig drive that is in this unit is very, very much acceptable. Now, to put this in a little bit better perspective, you know, everybody has the Samsung or the iPhone nowadays. That is the actual size of a Samsung S8 Galaxy compared next to the BLK. Now, probably other than the memory, one of the things that we always get asked is, okay, $15,990, what do I get? Okay, first of all, this nice packaging in here, I will get the BLK hood or the case, all right? That is a case that it slides right over the BLK. On the bottom, has a twist lock bottom to it, which is, they call that the cap. And you'll get a battery and a charger. So with that, the initial package, back up one time here, you will get the charger, a battery, the hood, the carrying hood, and the actual unit. Now, we take another step, we can add the accessory kit, okay? With that accessory kit, we have a fold flat tripod. Now, the BLK is cool, but I'm going to tell you, from experience, that is probably one of the coolest tripods that I've seen. There's so many times where I'll walk into a client site and they're like, hey, I thought you were bringing the BLK to do a demo. Yeah, I did. And just having it in my normal book bag with the tripod, with the scanner, with the batteries, it's pretty unbelievable. That tripod folds flat, and it's approximately, give or take a little bit, the size of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And it is extremely light. With the accessory kit, you will get that tripod. You'll get the messenger bag. Messenger bag is very, very, very nice. It does have space to store everything that you get, okay? Again, with the unit, the tripod, the batteries, the chargers, everything will fit inside that bag, including the iPad 12 Pro will fit in that bag. I also get, with the accessory kit, 2 additional batteries. And right now, what we're seeing is you're getting about 30 to 35 scans, medium to low quality scans per battery. Now, that's kind of, in a nutshell, what you're getting for the base price of $15,990, and then it also gives you that what you're getting with that accessory kit. Now, let's look at probably what I would consider far more important information. What are the specs of this unit? Okay, first of all, it's 150 megapixel dome imagery. All right. The nice part about that imagery is it takes 30 seconds, and give or take 1 or 2 seconds. It's actually 32.2 seconds on a consistent basis. Not that I've tested it. Okay, so being able, you know, if anybody's ever done any laser scanning, the most time-consuming thing about laser scanning is taking pictures. They've really done a phenomenal job cutting that time down by having those 3 cameras. Another one is your 3D positional accuracy. We are getting 6 millimeter at 10 meter, which is approximately 1/4 of an inch at about 33 feet. Okay, and we're getting a range accuracy or a positional accuracy of about 8 millimeter at 66 feet. It does have a range of up to 60 meters with a minimum range of about a meter or a little less, okay? Now, you know, with all that I've done, hands-on with this scanner, working with other clients, educating them, we have found that, yeah, it'll collect data at 60 meters. But my opinion is the sweet spot for data collection, really nice, usable data, is between 60 to 75 feet. So after that, you probably want to kind of pull back and maybe do another scan. So, and how I came up with that 60 to 75 feet is that's where I was really, really able to extract geometry from points. The next one is it collects 360,000 points per second. Okay, that means it's shooting that laser out, and every 1 second that it shoots that laser out, it's collecting that 360,000 points. And for every second we collect, it's adding those points. That's what's building our point cloud information. And then we move into the wireless connectivity. And this is something that, again, I want to speak about just for a minute. When you want to use the BLK, and you do want to use it with the iPad, I'll talk more about the iPad here in a minute. You do have to wirelessly connect the iPad to the BLK. It is a single point connection. That meaning you're not going to have internet access on your iPad. You're not going to have internet access through the BLK. It is just simply connecting the two devices together. You do not need to have any type of cellular connection to run this. I can go into an area that has no Wi-Fi signal at all and still be able to wirelessly control the BLK through the iPad. Next thing is each scan is done in approximately 3 minutes. Let me add to this because some people go, oh, wait a minute. There are 3 different settings on the BLK, low, medium, and high. And they are approximately, time-wise, 1.5 minutes for low, 3 to 3.5 for medium, 5.5 minutes for a high-quality scan. So when we say approximately 3 minutes, that is on a medium scan. Now, we start getting in here and we start looking at, well, why would I want to buy any other scanner? Not all scanners are created equal. Now, we're not going to go into, you know, when you should buy one, when you should buy the other, why you should buy one, why you should buy the other. We're here to talk about the BLK, okay? The amount of data, the quality of data that you get from the BLK is not going to be of that of a higher-end scanner. The higher-end scanners collect 1 million points per second. Data is much larger. I can go much further distances. The point and purpose behind the BLK is to get into areas that I don't necessarily need to have that high of a quality of scan. So when we start getting in here, again, I've mentioned some of the major differences, all right? One major difference is the BLK is about 2 pounds. Leica scanner is about 22 pounds. That's a big difference. But again, when we start doing a true comparison between the BLK and between those, the P-series scanners or the higher-end scanners from any manufacturer, a lot of different things come into play, okay? The BLK is not going to really do any survey grade type laser scans. That's not the intent for that unit. Another one is, you know, when we start looking at getting into scanning, depending on what you're doing, that BLK may be the absolute piece of equipment that you need, but it may not be. So, you know, there is a little niche market for that BLK. Now, let's get into the workflow, because there's a couple workflows that we're going to start talking about. All right. First of all, the BLK is going to be ran via an iPad. This is kind of workflow number one. All right. I have to have an iPad Pro, you know, the 12.9 inch. Right now, I'm sure somebody's probably sitting there sending me the question, hey, can it be run on any other device? Right now, the answer is no. It is solely on the 12-inch or 12.9-inch iPad Pro. We hope that that opens up to other devices in the future. Now, when we use the workflow, we're going to call it workflow number one. When we use workflow number one, basically I have the iPad, I have the BLK scanner, they're wirelessly connected. I go out, I set my scanner up, I stand near it with the iPad, and everything that I do is going to be wirelessly done from the iPad. At any point in time, or when I set my project up, I connect to the scanner, I hit start. As I'm scanning, that information is now being transferred to the iPad. As it transfers, especially the first one, it is bringing that data down. As soon as that scan's done, that data is still transferring. I just simply pick up the BLK, walk to my next location, use the iPad, hit start, scan. The BLK starts the process of taking photographs and scanning again, all while that data is still being transferred from scan number one. As I continue this process 3, 4, 5 times, as I'm moving forward, that data is still downloading. Once that data is downloaded, scan number one, it'll automatically start to number two. Once number two, the second scan, has downloaded, it's going to automatically register it for me. You'll get a pop, it'll turn red, and it'll say, hey, ready to register. It gives you your numbers, your merge, your overlap, that information. You know, it gives me that detailed information. I can hit merge. Those two scans are now going to automatically register themselves together. At that point, it's a lot like Legos. We're all adults, but we've all played with Legos in the past. Stacking, continue to put those together. And what I really like about that is now I'm seeing what I was able to get, what I may have missed. I'm seeing it all real time right there on the iPad. Another really nice feature that I like that I've actually I utilize it an unbelievable amount in the field is being able to, after I've added two scan worlds together, I've done that registration through the recap, I'm able to start measuring, utilizing the data that I already have. All right, so being able to visualize it, see those measurements right there while I'm doing the scan, very, very, very great tool. Now, I do want to back up and add one thing. There are going to be times where I've got to move the scanner to a location where I may not be able to see a whole lot of overlap between the two scans. You are able to do what I call a cloud-to-cloud registration where, you know, in the iPad app, if for some reason the recap cannot register them together, I am able to go in and do it the traditional way, pick 3 points in one scan, pick those 3 same points as close as I can in the other scan, and let the software figure it out and put it together. If it still can't put it together, then I'm going to recommend you probably want to add a scan between them, if at all possible, to make that connection. Now, from here, if I wanted to, and again, this would require a data connection, and sometimes that can be pricey, but if you have the data on your iPad, and let's say you got to a Wi-Fi hotspot, I could, once I'm done collecting all the data's all registered, I could go ahead and upload that point cloud data to your registration, your Autodesk 360 account. I can automatically sync it. So if I'm traveling in another state, I had to go collect the data, but I'm not coming back till tomorrow, and I wanted the office to get the data so they can start working first thing in the morning, I'm probably going to transfer it to the Autodesk 360 account. They can go download it. Now they're working as you either travel back or collect additional data. So it's a very, very, very helpful tool. Now, what we are looking at now is once I've collected that data, let's say I want to take the iPad back to the office, okay? And I want to take that data off the scanner or off my iPad and bring it into the desktop Recap Pro app. That will require me to basically plug in the iPad into your laptop, and then we will transfer that data via the Autodesk Recap app, which I will show you in a short bit. Now, also in the app, you do have the real view. So at any point in time, if you see you've got 8 or 10 scans, just by simply picking on one of the pictures in the scan, it will open up that real view for you, so you will see the photographs from that location. Now, Leica and Autodesk went in this partnership together. All right, they want to try to get scanners in the hands of the multitude, and one of the easy ways to do that is, most people use Autodesk software. Not everybody. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody by saying most people do, but a lot of people use Autodesk software. And natively, all Autodesk software utilizes the Autodesk Recap point cloud engine. So going into AutoCAD, going into Revit, going into Inventor, any of this software that's Autodesk, Recap will take that data into. So we've got AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Plant 3D, just kind of hit the high levels there. That's probably the most commonly used Autodesk software. Now we have that kind of sums up workflow number 1. Okay. Workflow number 2 can potentially simplify a little bit. All right. With the BLK, I am not required to have the iPad app. I'm not required to use that iPad. If I wanted to, I could just simply take the scanner, take my tripod, set it up, turn it on. Once it's booted, if I hit the power button again, it automatically starts scanning. The data is stored on the 64 gig hard drive or drive. I'm done, I move it, hit start. I'm done, I move it, I hit start. If that is the workflow you want, then what has to happen is you're going to have the Leica suite of software, be it registration or Register 360 or the Cyclone Register, which is a little bit different. All right, I cannot take the BLK without the iPad, scan, and download that data directly into Recap. You have to, if you want to take it into Recap, you do have to have the app. Whereas with the Leica software, Cyclone or Register 360, I am able to turn that unit on when I get back to the office, turn on the software, turn on the unit, use your Windows wireless connection, and you're going to connect your laptop to that BLK. At which point I can then wirelessly download that data into the Leica software. Now, kind of going through option 2. So now what I'm going to do is kind of get rid of the PowerPoint and start looking at the data. So I'm going to go ahead and start up Autodesk Recap. We're going to give it a second here. And here we go. So this is what you would typically see when starting a new project. First thing we would do, come in here, new project, and you're going to notice that right here I have transfer from mobile device. This is where you will have to have the iPad plugged into your laptop, and you will need to have Recap on your iPad Pro and Recap open on your desktop so that I can transfer from point A to point B. Once I click transfer, it goes through that process. Now, I cheated, sorry, but I went ahead and brought the data in just for time's sake. So I'm going to go open, and I'm going to open up this mechanical room. Now, with that said, I do want to make sure that everyone understands that, yes, Recap Pro app on the iPad registered the data for me. You will be required, once you download the data from the iPad to the desktop, you will be required to index those scans, which is basically like it's similar to finalizing the scans, and it kind of locks them together so we can't tear them apart, so it's fixed. So you will be required to index when you download it. Now, this is what everybody's wanting to see. Here is true data captured with the BLK. There was a total of 5 scans. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a couple in the back. Now, there are some things that I want to point out here. You know, we, as Imagine Technologies, we want to tell you everything is gold, everything is great, there are no flaws. With anything, I can't do that. Reality, you'll notice that the scanner does a phenomenal job at most everything. But what you will notice is there are going to be times where it is going to have issues scanning black surfaces. All right, so we've got some of that elastomeric insulation around the discharge of our pumps. Well, what happens is it absorbs that scan, that laser really, really, really well. And you're going to see, well, sometimes it scanned it, sometimes it didn't, okay? One of the things that we have to be mindful of is that really dark color. Well, Jeff, I really need to scan parts and pieces that are dark. Okay, no problem. There are some steps that we can take to remedy that collection process. One of the ways is talcum powder. Get a cloth or something, put a little in it, and kind of just tap that material. It's a safe, talc powder is very safe, but what it's going to do is it's going to put just a little bit of dust, a little bit of residue on that black surface. So when I scan it, I now will see that surface. Another option is, let's say, well, one of the issues I ran into not too long ago was scanning a little bit of a building as a demo, and they had a wall about 4 foot long that was painted with chalkboard paint. Well, if I scan that, it's probably not going to catch up or catch much of that information because it was brand new, newly painted, hadn't had chalk written on it. If it did, there would probably be enough residue on that chalkboard paint to where that residue would allow me to capture it. So very quickly, I just took some painter's tape, put a couple pieces of painter's tape in random locations, a couple pieces at the top, a couple pieces in the middle, a couple pieces at the bottom. That way, when I scanned, it picked up the scanner picked up those tape locations, and I was able to identify where that plane is of that wall. Again, it didn't pick up the black paint because it didn't pick it up. It won't scan it. But by putting those pieces and parts of the tape on that wall, I was able to quickly identify where that was at. So, a challenge, black paint, easily fixed. Now, this is typical recap. I can pretty much spin around here at any point in time. This is my, what we call mirror balls. By picking on that, that is going to take me to that location, and now you're going to view the pictures that were taken from that location. So you're going to see that the quality of the photographs are really well, okay? And side note, I did not use HDR photography for this, so these are just standard pictures. And as I pan around here, I'm pretty much capturing everything that I need. I see it. It's a great selling point. There's no doubt about what things are. Get a very good understanding. By just clicking on the next mirror ball, I'm able to jump to that location. And now I see those pictures. Again, by hitting 3D view, that puts me back to the point cloud. And I can come in here, if I hold my shift down, spin it around, move it around. If I hold right shift and right mouse button down, kind of gives me a look around. So you can see that it really captures the points very well. This is an area where I would say the BLK is very optimal at. Interior spaces for architectural and engineering, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Will it work on the exterior of buildings? Yes, it will. It will capture exteriors, no problem. Just remember, it all depends on how far you are from that surface. Also remember, it's 2 pounds. So if there's a really strong breeze or strong wind, there's a potential that could be knocked over. So just be mindful. So, again, a couple things that we can do in here. Now, I've got this point cloud data in here. I want to take this out to AutoCAD or out to Revit or some other design program. What I'm able to do here is very quickly, so that I can bring this point cloud in at 0 instead of having it way up in the air or way below, whatever, I can very quickly come in here and I can say update origin. Put a point on the floor, hit enter, and now it resets the scan to where my floor is now 0. So we're going to say, yeah, we're done here. That's cool. Nice point cloud. I close out. Now I'm going to bring in AutoCAD, okay? The only thing I've done here was I opened up AutoCAD, created a new drawing, and set my units to architectural. To bring this in, what I'm going to do is go to Insert. I'm going to attach a point cloud, navigate to it, and you're going to notice that I navigate to that RCP. I hit open, and I'm just going to place it right where it's at. Now I've got that entire point cloud into my drawing, at which point I can come in here and start using, if I come in here and pick it, I can come in here and start using some clippings and some line creation, etc. So that's just keeping it simple. That's how easy it is to bring in that point cloud into AutoCAD. Let's jump over. Let's go into Revit. Again, I just have a very simple template. Go to a 3-dimensional view. I come in here to Insert, Point Cloud. Go to my desktop because I'm going to go to that same one. I'm going to change it to Origin, and I'm going to hit Open. Now this is going to take a little extra time. We all know that Revit takes just a few minutes extra, but there we go. And if I come in here, and let's say if I go to an elevation view, and I take a look at that, because I set that base point, or I set that origin in recap to the floor, notice that it came in where? Level 1, 0. All right. If you are taking BLK data and you're combining it with other higher end scanner data, and let's say that higher end scan data is set to known control. Well, if I register the BLK data to the known control, that BLK data is going to snap to known control. At which point, then I may have to come in here and reorient and relocate the levels to match the point cloud. We do not move the point cloud in Revit. Do not move the point cloud in Revit. So we would adjust our levels. So that's just, in a brief nutshell, taking the scan from the BLK to the iPad to the desktop, into AutoCAD, into Revit. With that said, I will turn it back over to you, Jana.
Sure, one moment while I end today's recording.